Thank you for listening to the TTalks.net podcast, the show that brings you
Good
information,
evening.
guidance, and support to entrepreneur-minded individuals like yourself. TTalks.tomorrow. This isn't the daily show, but this is the show where you'll get everything. You'll get a fiesta of a mix with the old tips and insights into everyday business, big wins in everyday life. They have a lot to add, from bookkeeping to sales.
Good afternoon, good evening. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to T Talks. My name is Alex DeLuca. Joined with me is Rafael Rodriguez. And we're having a little bit of technical difficulties as always.
We'll come through.
I can't hear you. But it's all good. Let's see here. May 12th, 10:05 Eastern Standard Time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's T Talks. And welcome back.
I'm showing.
You're muted. You are muted. Yes, muted. So the T Talk topics that we have been discussing
What about
over
now?
and over and over again. Hey, Ralph.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, nice haircut, bro.
Thank you.
Good evening. We're back. How's your day going?
It's been a little hectic, but nothing that we can't.
Living the dream?
We are living the dream.
It's live, impactful dream every day, every dollar. It counts. T-Talk topic, time management. We're going to do a continuation of the time management. Time management. That's one thing. Me, you, President Trump, President Biden, Elon Musk, we all have one thing in common. And that's going to be time.
And the one thing that we can't take back
It's time.
is time. We can
The
give
one
it,
thing we
we can
can
give
never
it,
get it back.
but you never can get it back.
How many moments would you like back, in some scenarios that went good or bad in life? But hey, what are you gonna do?
Actually, on the same note of time management, and not to kind of go off tangent, but
Oh, let's not do that.
oh well, it's customary. What is the $1 million question?
What's Dogecoin gonna go back up to next week? But no. What is the $1 million question?
Well, if you can wake up tomorrow with no problem whatsoever, how will it be?
With no problems?
Yes.
How would it be?
Yes.
I don't know, like a mix between boring and relaxed.
It's
No problems.
no problem whatsoever. I mean, literally just
I ain't got no problems.
you ain't got nothing. Everything has been squared away.
Love it. So is that the $1 million answer?
No, that's the $1 million question. And we are having a storm in our area, so we'd like to apologize as we are trying to get our things in order here. And
But that's us. We are the storm.
one of the things that we did want to do is that maybe kind of do our frequency a little bit less, but the content a little bit higher. So instead of doing 30-minute, we might do a 45 to an hour, but do it in different method.
Sounds good to me.
Right now, this week, this is where all the latecomers come in the tax season. So, but and I'm hoping that some of the stuff that's popping up starts popping up on our screen. But other than that, how was your weekend? Let's try to. This is our first broadcast for the week, unfortunately.
Yes, we were busy. Weekend was good. Today's already Wednesday. The week's flying by. Picking up new clients on the digital marketing side. Expanding, finding out new clients on the construction realm. I am officially moving back to the east coast of Florida. And other than that, man, it's same old, same old.
Well, welcome back. You weren't gone too long.
No, almost. It'll be a year. I'll be back in July, so it'll be a full year away from home. Longest year of my life. No, I'm just kidding. It's fun. Learned a lot. Ton of opportunity everywhere.
Well, and I think we're a firm believer that we make our own opportunities.
No matter what city, what town, what hour of the day, there's money to be made and ways to make it.
And you can either sit back and wait for the opportunity to happen, or you go out there and make the opportunity.
Or create the opportunity. That's what I love.
Well, you create the opportunity, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the client on the digital side.
Yeah, so digital side, new construction company. Not new. They've been around forever. Development side, building, shell contractors. They really want to get into the home improvement side, residential for the roofs and impact windows. So we're going to give them full hurrah digital platform from Google Ads, reputation, SEO, you name it. Going to have some fun with them. They'll be doing roofs, windows, and renovations in South Florida.
Sweet.
Right up our alley.
Awesome.
It's like, it's one thing, we've done so many different things, and, you've been from True Green to accounting to, you're getting your master's in what, or your doctorate in what, business management, or what is it?
It's actually going to be in organizational behavior and leadership.
Awesome. And, just being all over, and being able to be educated on all that you're educated on. I'm going from DirecTV to life insurance to cars and construction. Construction has been one of those areas where I cannot not stay in. I love it. The before and after, the homeowner experience, everything, so we're in for the long haul and having fun.
And just do us a favor. One of the things that we do ask is that please, if you want to get notified in regards to any new episode, hit that subscribe button. Please, we don't ask for much. If you can just like our video, that will help us in the YouTube algorithm. That will be greatly appreciated. So just wanted to plug that in there, and remember that sharing is caring.
Yes, everything he just said, sharing is caring. Please share, like, add, ask questions, and be a part of our loving Tea Talk family.
All right, so right into our topic, organizing your workspace.
Love it. Organizing your workspace, no matter where it is, at home or in the office, right?
That is correct. The only thing even in the world is the number of hours in a day. The difference in winning or losing is what you do in those hours. That was Woody Hayes that said that. So
Woody Hayes, love it. The only thing even in this world, yes, that really hits home. Time, we just talk about it. It's everything.
well, what happens is that by eliminating clutter, you're setting up an effective filing system, gathering essential tools, and managing workflow. You be well on your way to creating an effective workspace. So, look around. Sometimes I don't know if this has happened to you, but you're looking for that paper that you were talking on the phone. You're doing multitasking, so you take any piece of paper that you find,
Mm-hmm.
you write that number down, you write the name down, you write the email, and all of a sudden you put it aside, you do something else, and then all of a sudden, uh, now you're it's time to get to it,
Where'd it
and
go?
where's the paper?
Mm-hmm.
So
Where did it go?
everybody has their own different ways of how to handle situations like that. But typically, one of the first thing I do is I always save that as soon as I hang up with that person, I save that contact information. I save that contact information. I put some notes on the contact itself, and either the email. I always try to repeat back that email just to confirm that I do have it correct. We all go through this that we're like yeah, and all of a sudden,
No, yeah, every time.
did you get the proposal? No, and I don't know about you, but I, if I can't get the proposal to their hands, I'm a firm believer that the perception, their perception of you, it's not going to be the greatest. And this is how you start. So I'm all about making sure that when we're dealing with customers, that we're always playing the chess, that chess
Mm-hmm.
piece, and making sure that And it doesn't mean that I'm always right. I love to think that I'm always right, but
I bet you do.
but at least I know that I tried. I know that I went a little bit too far, but then I retracted. I know that I gave them everything I got. I know that I went through my show whenever I'm done with that customer, and I literally hit every single point that I needed to hit, and I make sure of it. Either you keep that on a mental note, or you keep it on on part of your notes or part of your presentation. There's just a little check mark to help you, and everybody has their own different method. But guys, it's whatever works for you. Always
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind. When you're in, we're gonna go back to the time that everything is gonna be back to normal. But when you're in somebody's home or you're trying to enter somebody's home, the first thing you say is that you try to clean up your shoes, and you're just extremely careful to the point where I'm not gonna step on their grass, even though it's full of weeds. I'm not gonna step in their grass because I I respect their property. I respect them as people. I respect them as customers. So the way I relate to them is extremely in a professional and in a professional manner.
No, of course, 100%. We talk about. I don't know if we brought it up recently, but it's all about treat the dance or the show that you put on like your first interview. You're as polite as possible. You're showing empathy. You're humble. You're a human being. You're charismatic. You're having conversation. Yeah, man, it's all about being you.
Now, when we talk about managing ourselves and managing tasks, and there's this acronym. I don't know if you heard it before, but it goes by you manage your workflow like a sting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that before?
No, let's see here. So, Sting, you select one task to do at a time. We've talked about that multiple times. Multitasking is a myth. Focus. Time yourself. We just talked about the 15-minute rule the other day. Ignore everything else. No distractions. Any distractions, your kid, whatever is going on, ignore it. No distractions. No breaks or interruptions. We're here. We got a timeline. We're here to get that task done. And give yourself a reward. I'm a firm believer in that. And throughout my years, reward of myself has been more or less my time. Go golf with my dad, go to the beach with the kid. As long as I got my checklist done, my sales in line, everything buttoned up paperwork wise that I need to be, my follow ups, if everything's done, I'm going to reward myself.
Well, and I'm a firm believer of playing hard. Work hard, play hard.
Work hard, play hard.
Yep. Da Vinci. So one of the things that we get boggled down in, and I don't know about you, but I get thousands of emails on a daily basis. I mean,
Which
thousands.
email?
Exactly.
Which email?
I get thousands and thousands of email on a daily basis, and believe it or not, it can boggle down and really suck you up, and you got to be careful because again, you can't recover time. So one of the things that is suggested is that you kind of do your email by batches, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Outlook is great. Gmail is great. There are a lot of platforms for email that you can create some delivery rules. So if you know your number one client, that every time that number one client or anything that comes from that number one client starts beeping all over the place, then you can go ahead and address it. Otherwise, everybody gets inundated with spam
Mm-hmm.
and this and that, and all that, it just sucks up time. And try to create different folders for different topics. In my case, where I have multiple things going at the same time, and I have multiple emails for each different activity, and then they're all forwarded to one. But I do have certain rules that if XYZ email comes up, I get notified, and it beeps and it comes to my phone, and I can look at it, and if I have to reply immediately, I reply. And this is part of the reasons why our customer retention is huge, because we try to cater our customer. Either it's at 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, that we're available, and sometimes if we're not available, we let them know, hey, look, I'll catch up with you tomorrow morning, and they're okay with that. But just the availability of being there, it creates added value to our services, and these
Oh
are
yeah.
things that you could do in your organization, is just creating value to your services, to your customers.
100%.
Do you use calendars at all?
Oof. Me and calendars have had a battle for the past year and a half. Why? Because I keep my planner on me. I have one for every year. But then you also have all the digital devices to track on. So it's like, which do I always keep my platform on, my daily on? And it's always a grind between the two. I double work, so it's sometimes it's on both just for to make sure you don't miss anything. But calendars, man, calendars are huge, important planners. Without it, I'd be lost.
Well, one of the things that really has helped many organizations is not necessarily so much of a calendar, but a CRM system. Because a CRM system, what it does, it actually helps
Oh
you.
yeah, sorry, that's my third platform I try to track to.
Well, and you should have everything in your CRM, and each different organization of ours have their own CRM system, and
Mm-hmm.
we know if we have to call somebody or we don't have to call. You got people in the accounting that have certain deadlines and certain documents that needs to be filed in a certain date. So they get notified a week in advance that, hey, this particular due date is coming, and we also serve as a reminder. Hey, look, so all this is automatic, and it makes us feel, they feel like somebody is actually working with their timeline to make sure that they don't get penalized, because especially in the accounting world, the penalties could be pretty hefty if you don't necessarily file when you're supposed to file.
Lovely. For any other accounting or tax questions, please reach out to our sponsors at theremotebookkeepers.com. They're there ready to answer any of your questions. Back on to T-Tot topics. We're talking about dealing with your emails. We just said, the email is best handled in batches. Create delivery rules, create folders for different topics, rules for, which emails to go to which folder. We just go on and on and on. And we're jumping. Anything else we want to touch on the
No, we'll come back and
emails?
do like we were doing, which is a little summary right at the
Awesome.
end of the podcast, so we can make sure we cover. Hopefully, if anybody missed anything, we can catch it up. But I
Yeah,
think
and if you
that-
guys ever follow those 6 a.m. success rules, one thing about the emails, don't, react, have to react to your emails first thing when you wake up. There's no reason to open that email and you're trying to react to everything, just set the time. Don't let those emails overwhelm you.
Well, I think the next topic is one of the hardest for anybody, especially new managers or new business owners, new entrepreneurs. It's delegating.
Yeah, delegating your time. Delegating,
Just
not your
delegate.
time, but, certain responsibilities in your business, right? Because you have so many hats on at first.
Well, everybody has their limitation. So, one of the things that happens is that once you start growing your organization, okay, you want to kind of know what your limitations are, and hopefully, the person that you brought in it's actually carrying your weight on your limitations, and you can carry their weight on their limitations. So, and it's a whole process that you should go through. That's more of a recruiting process, but one of the things that you kind of have to do is kind of do an inventory of and be real with yourself. So when it comes to acquiring new assets or new employees to your organization, that you're filling those gaps as much as you can, because the better you fill those gaps, the better your organization is going to do as a whole. But I can tell you that at first sight, delegation can feel more hassle than it's worth. But really, if you think about it, by delegating effectively, you can hugely expand the amount of work that you can deliver.
And it's all about finding the right people to delegate to. That's one of the biggest things. We got another quote here. The best executive is one who has sense enough to pick good men to do what he wants done, and self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it. And that's about finding the right person, trusting them, and kind of giving them the wheel.
And it's difficult because, and I don't care who you are, but you can always say, and people will always say that I can do it better than anybody else. Okay. And, and so you have to kind of have faith on that individual to help you, and maybe sometimes even make mistakes while he's learning or she's learning the task and the process. And hopefully one of the things that you do is that you try to be clear and concise in regards to what you want that person to do. And I think that one of the things that you should do is that, again, you do an inventory of yourself, you do an inventory of that individual, and you try to look at the people's skill, and you look at your tasks and you try to match those tasks with those skills. You wouldn't put, a mechanic to do your bookkeeping, and you won't put somebody who's, done bookkeeping forever to run your mechanic shop.
Wouldn't be the best idea, right?
It wouldn't be. And then you also want to look at your non-critical tasks or your recurring tasks that, is always repetition. The more repetitive the task is, the easier it is to teach that individual to do and do it well. And I'm a firm believer. If you haven't heard this in the past, maybe you haven't been in management for a long time, but if you have, inspect what you expect.
Expected.
Inspect what you expect.
That's
So
it.
if you inspect what you expect and you tell them what you expect from them,
It's almost a
you
tongue
expect
twister
it,
there.
you can go back and say, hey, look,
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would?
something like that. So, and sometimes some people it's gonna some people it's gonna be harder for them to grasp because you gotta understand, you as an individual that's been doing this task forever, this is second nature to you. Somebody that you just got from the street to putting themselves in your shoes and trying to carry out in the same way you are trying to carry out, it's not gonna happen overnight.
Not going to happen overnight. Training, onboarding, a plan, get it done. When to delegate, Ralph?
When to delegate? Well, I think that you should delegate when your non-essential tasks, if you can afford it, with the virtual assistants, the VAs that are available. I mean, from possibly writing a professional letter, you might, it depends on who you're gonna delegate it to, but the
Always depends.
it really depends because I wouldn't delegate certain things to an individual while I will delegate. I have 8 to 10 people at any time that are working in the accounting, and there are certain people that are better with bank reconciliation, entering journal entries, balancing the books, um, making sure that they go through. And what happens is that I have certain people with that they're constantly working with that client, and if you cross them over, well, if they've been working with the same client over and over, they can actually see and spot deficiencies much quicker than if you keep switching them around because they begin to see a pattern, and you try to show them the pattern. So if for some reason or another, to give you an example, their cost of labor is at 50% where it always been at 30%, then we're going to go ahead and look at it and say, okay, what's going on here? And did we make a mistake, or was there a mistake entered? If there was no mistake, then we can go back to the business owner and say, hey, look, last month this seems out of whack. What happened? Oh no, I hired a couple temps to do this, and this because for some warehousing. And but what that shows is that you're on top. You're really on top of their books, and you're on top of their finance because it's not just running finance; it's helping them grow their business. So
100%.
So to whom should we delegate?
Who should we delegate? That's always the good question,
To
right?
whom?
To whom?
So again, this is where we look at their experience, their knowledge, their skill. We look at how much supervision do they need, and what kind of workload do they have already. Um, I have an individual that for almost 2 months, and when we talk about repetitive tasks, it's really repetitive tasks, and they still can't grasp the information. So what I have to do, because it's my responsibility, is if an employee of ours fail, we have to look at the mirror and say, did we do everything we could to try to salvage it? So all you got to do is you got to go back to the basic and really break it down. Okay, so when this happens, this is what you do. When this happens, this is what you do. And you give it to them on paper, and then you tell them, now I want you to write it, and I want you to tell me the same thing I just told you, but you're going to repeat it back to me.
Go ahead, tell me.
So what happens, hopefully, is that after they say it 2 or 3 times, they should hopefully get the idea. And this is the reason why McDonald's and the Burger King and Ford, they have been so successful at it, at building, these giants, is because they automated and created systems in place that it's always the same, no matter what. And we talked about this last week. Is that you can get a French fry in Fort Myers, a French fry in you know in New Jersey, a French fry in Jacksonville, and they all taste the same.
Everywhere. And they said, put it to that number. If you don't, you're fired.
And but imagine if you have people that come into your organization and they want, and a lot of them have great ideas. Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I always like to talk about the Nike idea. The black shoes. You know who came up with the black shoe for Nike? It was a
Who?
janitor
Yeah, why?
because he was wearing the shoes and it was getting always dirty. So the white shoes, really spanking white shoes, every time he was cleaning, it was just getting dirty. So he said, "Why don't you make shoes instead of white, make them black?"
Wait, so all shoes were white at first?
Uh, yeah. Now you got a multitude of colors, but this was a janitor who came up with the idea, and also with Frito Lay, with the Cheetos. That was a mistake that turned out to be, the guy. The guy is actually now a speaker. He went up and moved up the rank with Frito Lay, but he was the one that actually invented the Cheetos.
The Cheetos were an accident?
Yes.
Ah, man, that's awesome. Good stuff, man.
Was it Cheeto or the Crunch? Um,
Fact checks, fact
yeah,
checks.
I'm gonna have to. We'll put a disclaimer on the bottom saying that the information has not been verified. And I can't remember. I can't remember the guy's name, but the good news is that we do have, you know, Frito Lay Cheetos story. Is it Frito Lay? There it is. Yeah. The guy's name. A movie is been made about the creator of the Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Looks like in 1948,
No, this,
Cheetos were invented when an animal feed manufacturer in Wisconsin changed up their machine cleaning technique. They were placed on moist corn on a grinder and found the grain puffed up when it came out.
yeah,
So yeah, it was just
an accident.
looks like an accident. Yeah,
But
pretty
this
funny.
one, it's actually a janitor at Frito Lay that invented the Flaming Hot Cheetos. His name is Richard Montanez, and
Thank you, Richard. Yep, invented the hot Cheeto. Look at that. Los Angeles, Richard Montanus of Corona.
he became a high executive within went from cleaning toilets to being one of the most respected executive in the food industry. So, um,
Fun fact of the day. Look, you turn into Tea Talks, you're going to learn something. You're going to find out some fun facts.
first generation Mexican immigrant. So,
Love it.
okay, going back to topic.
Tea Talk topic is time management. Let's get back on it.
Well, we're talking
So
about
we just,
delegating.
to whom should you delegate, right? How should you delegate? Initiates action and then reports periodically, acts and then reports results immediately, makes recommendation, then acts, asks what to do, waits to be told what to do. How should you delegate? That's the question, Ralph.
Well, again, everybody has their different button, and depending on the interaction you have with the individual, you understand more than anybody how they're absorbing the information and how they're, how they're responding to your tasks and how they're responding to your commands, and based on that, again, you expect what you expect, and based on that, um, you should come up with a process. And the best process is the written process. I know it's a lot of work. Matter of fact, that could be possibly one of the things that I have done in the past is that is the person that comes in um, actually helps create their job title and their job description and well, what their task is, and they actually start creating standard operating procedures, and now from them creating it, it kind of engraves them, and now it's a matter of following up and making sure that they're doing what they wrote, that you directed, that they wrote. Again, this is all about delegating, and now you just have some binders with the standard operating procedure. And I think that one of the biggest thing is keeping control when you're delegating. How do you keep control?
It's always the big question, right?
And it's really easy, um, because the way you keep control is there are many ways, but you brief your team members. You always are available for question. Try not to micromanage, and always ask for solutions. The solutions might not be the one that you want to hear, and might not be a good solution, but at least they try.
Oh yeah, right. At least they gave it a shot.
And I don't know how long we've been on this, but I
It's
think.
now 10:40.
Ooh. All right, so I think that we'll just do a quick wrap up of our, you know,
Quick wrap up. Let's see, dealing with the emails. Let's see, quick review. Which is not part of basic filing system? We got working files, do-it-yourself files, reference files, archive files.
do it yourself.
Do it yourself. In managing workflow, what are the 4 Ds?
Do, delete, defer, delegate.
Delegate, love it. One of the best ways to deal with email is to set up rules to filter emails to certain folders.
That is
True. The acronym STING can help when feeling overwhelmed. What does the G stand for?
give yourself a reward.
Give yourself a reward. Love it. We talk about that. I love playing golf when I do good. Which of these does not help to create an effective workspace? Working around clutter, setting up an effective file system, gathering essential tools, or managing workflow.
Well, working around clutter.
You got to clean up your workplace, home or office, whatever it is. What type of files are used for materials? Oh, sorry. What type of files are used for materials used frequently and needed close at hand? Working files, do-it-yourself files, reference files, or archive files.
Well, definitely working files.
Yeah, I
Those
want to
are the
keep
ones
those working files.
which of these are not essential in the effective workplace? Telephone, three trays to control the workload on your desk, a pile of usage notes, and standard office supply. A pile of use definitely ain't gonna do it.
If a task is not yours to do, how should you respond?
Delegate it.
Delegate it. Let's see here. Which one's next?
For people with multiple responsibility, what type of calendar might be especially valuable? An annual calendar organized by area of responsibility.
Love it.
All right, and for our delegation uh, process, micromanaging is one of the best ways to keep control and stay up to date. That is false. What is the first level of sphere of independence? Delegate waits to be told what to do. If that's what's happening to you, then
Let's see. What is not something that you need to explain to a delegate? Every exact step that you would take if you were doing the project yourself, the goals you have for the project, what's expected of them during the project, or all timelines and deadlines.
well, I hope that every step that you will take if you were doing the project yourself.
There you go. And one more. What is it, Ralph?
When good work is returned to you, you should do what? Recognize the effort, reward the effort, take the credit for yourself. And I think that,
We're going to go with the top first two on that.
oh yeah, definitely. Some people will take the credit themselves, but that all it does, it just creates a bad environment.
Well, just lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. Turning into Tea Talks. Action filled, looks like 45 minutes or so with a little bit of technical difficulties getting it going. You'll see us a few nights a week.
For now, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday.
Sunday, Monday, Wednesday?
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right. And let's see if we can get the out.
Thank you for tuning in to ttalks.net. If you have any questions, comments, or something you want us to talk
that's
about,
fine. My
email
name,
us
once
at
again, is
Raphael
Alex DeLuca. Thank you for tuning into
ttalks.net.
Tea Talks,
Or
and
comment
we will
below.
Tea Talk
Please
to
follow us on
you
YouTube at ttalksnet.
tomorrow.
And
Or
Facebook
no?
at
When are we on
ttalksnet. Please rate us, and don't forget that sharing is caring.
Friday. You
Thank
got
you
it.
for your support.
Sunday. Oh,
Till
geez.
next
All
time,
right.
we will Tea Talk later.
In Florida.